my body sort of stopped, and then I like started crying, and like everything was like almost like pins and needles, but like not the weird part.
Mark had a panic attack.
You're so silly.
I'm also very ill. For our birthday episode of the podcast, I want you in a suit.
Okay, so we're just gonna say that again then.
Yeah, because we talked about it off camera, but I was like, this has to be talked about because I want it cemented in the world.
Said our birthday, didn't you? Or did you say my?
I said
birthday?
not for your. No, you're not included.
No, because last time he was like, for my birthday, I want. And I
Yeah,
said,
but like
our birth, like not our, like our.
Yeah, but we don't.
She's really bad at pretending things didn't happen.
I know. Could you just, for the love of God, once go, oh, this was an original thought we had? But no, okay, let's break the fourth wall.
It's all of a facade. None of it's real.
Yeah.
We're AI.
But I want you in a suit because I think it's hilarious and I think you'll probably hate it. What's...
I'm stuck here now.
He said we're AI and then looked at me like that.
I'm waiting for you to blink. She blinked. It's fine.
You lost.
Wait,
you lost the
what?
staring
You lost.
competition.
We were having a non-disclosed sharing.
We're sharing competition. Who can share the most?
Let's not do
You
that.
lost.
Did you just start one yourself?
Yeah, he lost.
Okay.
You lost.
I'm confused, right? Because so I obviously always review, that's not obvious, but I always review the podcasts before they go out. And the amount of times that we've like either started a podcast or come very close to starting a podcast with, so you've just come back from a place. You go everywhere. You travel more than we do. It's insane. Like you've just come back from Spain.
I barely leave the house.
Yeah. What, are you dying? Is that a problem?
No, I'm playing
I am, for the record. So if anyone does catch me coughing or
The man flu.
you know
He's
what-
dying of the man.
I'm dying of the man flu. I'm actually recovering now, so I'm not too bad. If this was a week ago and we were doing this podcast now, this would have been an absolute mess. But we're all right now. But yeah, how was Spain? You came back and immediately said I was the only one that didn't argue. You're pretty proud of yourself.
Didn't.
So who did what? I mean, don't tell us what was argued about because I don't
okay.
think we want to know.
Carry on.
I agree with that.
Oh, it's still alive.
Oh, is there a
That was
fly?
not worth it.
All right.
I disagree with that. Oh, Leo and Paul.
Okay.
It was
Big.
oh. It wasn't big, but it was like just so unnecessary. And obviously, I'm not going to say what they argued about, but it was just like ended how it normally ends. Leo. So we were at dinner. Stuff happened.
Did he find a door to slam?
No, he just, no, he always, if he's ever in an argument or he's losing or he just something, he'll be like, oh, I'm just going. And he'll just like start walking back.
Off he goes.
Like that's his solution to everything is just to leave.
Yeah.
And so then,
Fair though.
Yeah.
and so
I
then
know that.
Dad and Mum were talking about what happened. And then because like it was kind of between them. Oh, I just spotted a new drawing on the whiteboard. Because it was sort of, sorry, I think I have like, what was it, ADHD?
Brain damage. Carry on.
Yeah. Because it was between them, Dad then said to Mum kind of what happened and she disagreed and then she followed Leo. And so then...
Tilly and Paul left at
No,
dinner.
it was!
Sarah stalked.
And then we'd all ordered our food because that was kind of what it was along the lines of like to do with. We'd all ordered our food. And so I was saying to Dad, we're going to look so stupid if like 4 things turn up and there's 2 people just sat here.
It happens.
So then, no, it did end up coming back, but it was just so over dramatic. It was like so small and it became so dramatic.
I'm going to move. Oh, go on.
No,
Well,
before you do, why do things always get so tense over the dinner table?
Well, because I think, especially when you all go on holiday when you're a family and you don't have the best people in the family to, diffuse situations,
shush.
you are going to struggle sometimes
You
with...
lot used to be the ones when we went to Tenerife. It used to be you.
Were we arguing?
No, it
No,
would
like-
be the two of us. But actually, the difference between the two of us doing it was... It would never actually get particularly explosive. It would actually normally be a little bit comical. Sometimes it would have some negative undertones to it, to be fair. But
There was one year where we all went to Tenerife sort of as a family, but Max and I brought Dobby and Tom, and we just got our own apartment.
Yep.
We
I remember that.
stayed somewhere else
Yep.
entirely because we were like,
So much
we can do
better.
stuff together as a family and hang out and be together or whatever, but we're going to live
Didn't
separately.
you like go out before us?
Yeah, we did.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And then what was really funny, because Mum was annoyed that we'd done that, she booked something. I think we'd already been to like Siam Park, hadn't we?
Yeah.
And then she booked Siam Park again on our birthday.
It's a water park for anyone who doesn't know.
It's a water park.
It's a good water park.
And
though.
she knew I didn't want to go again.
Oh, I remember that.
And she hadn't even booked it yet, and she knew I didn't want to go, and then she booked it on our birthday, and I was like, "Cool, Mum."
You and Mum had some pretty
Thanks.
epic falling outs on holidays. I like to try.
That's what we talked about when Leo had kind of and Mum had gone. We just started talking about like you.
Unlucky, because to be fair, there are certain situations where
Not in
you
a bad
will just
way, but
you'll be like, I don't want to do this, and I'm not having it, and you'll just protest and completely not do it.
I feel I'm better now. I know I wasn't.
yeah, well, no, that's what we were talking about because I don't really remember you as a teenager. If that, not in a, I don't know how
Were you
to
not
explain it.
there?
I was just too young.
I just wasn't very memorable.
Yeah.
I was kind of too young and I didn't really know what it meant to be a teenager, so I wasn't almost looking out for how you guys acted.
Yeah.
So I don't remember as much as Dad was sort of telling me about. He didn't really talk about you too much, to be honest.
Nice. I'll take that.
It was just because he said that Leo kind of reminded you of him.
Which rarely happens. That's rarely a comparison made that Leo
No.
is like Max, but there are obviously going to be those crossovers. What I was going to ask you, because we'll move on from the more traumatic side of things. You took a picture. I saw it. It was on your story. Do you even know? First question. Do you even know that there was a picture on your Instagram story of you?
Yeah.
Because something tells me you weren't solely responsible for that. But then
Right.
that sort of follows up to my second question, which was, did you want to take a picture, like your sort of aesthetic pool picture? Was that your decision?
Oh,
that
no,
you?
that was Mum.
Okay.
Oh, the one where she was just stood with those bollards in the pool.
I didn't know that was posted on my Instagram story.
I saw that.
No, because she was like, okay, photo for Instagram. And I was like, no, Mum, I'm just stood
Yeah.
with water up to my ankles.
Dude, it was the most
random
awesome
pool.
holiday photo I've seen in my life.
Mum is so hopeless.
I was like, this
content.
really isn't worth a photo. And she was like, oh, I'll just take one. And the first one was me like this. And
What?
she was about to post it.
Yeah.
I went, oh, just don't post, because I thought it was for memories at first.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, don't post that, by the way. She was like, why not? And then showed it to me. I was like, are you joking?
Why do you think we've had Dobby all these years? Because if we relied on Mum
then
and Dad
we went
taking...
to a mini-
Can I finish my sentence? If we relied... Shut up. If we relied on Mum and Dad taking our pictures, we would have nothing good
Yeah.
to show for
To
ourselves.
be fair, I don't know if it was that day or the next day. We then went to mini golf and we
Yes.
got photos there. And Leo helped Mum because I was actually being so cool. I was taking the coolest poses. But then Mum was taking forever. And what Mum does is she gets so close that you can like see all like the spots on my face, the hairs up my nose. And I'm like, Mum, back up. She's like, but then I can't see you. I'm like, well, that's kind of the point.
Yeah, as far away as possible. So Leo did actually help with some pictures.
Yeah, well, because he did GCSE photography.
I shouldn't laugh.
Even
Yeah,
though we
for the record, Dobby also laughed.
I'm sorry. These photographers, they're like they'll take a picture of some grass in the foreground and then
Do you know
Art.
what he took photos of? So I brought my camera to. Well, I was gonna bring it to Belgium on my school trip, and so I was finding card that goes in
SD card.
SD card, and I was kind of going through the photos, and it was all of our local town. I don't want to say what town it is.
As in someone had just gone around taking pictures of where we live.
No. No, wait, you have to bleep this out because it's the town. Leo just gone around. It's like taking photos of
good.
all the buildings
Yeah.
and stuff. And I had to, and he would take duplicates, so I had to go through deleting every single. They were rubbish as well. They were so bad. I had to go through deleting these duplicates of photos, and it was honestly, I was dying.
The
Yeah.
problem is, I think the thing that a lot of like GCSE students miss as well, and because I'd seen other people doing photography and stuff, there is another side to the photography. You can't just take a picture and be like, cool, done. Like, you got to edit it as well. That is like one of the
He clearly
major
had
things.
not.
And do you know what?
Yeah, to be fair, you haven't edited a photo that's been taken on an SD card, so maybe he did something better with it. We don't know, but
I suppose potentially, but actually, in fairness, I think sorry, Dob, to include you here, but I think there was a period of time where you would use the camera and just be like, "There you go, photo," kind of thing. So it does
happens.
does happen.
Yeah.
But Yeah.
But you learn from it. But anyway, so photos on holiday, just because I found that so funny, because clearly you were not behind the Instagram story that I did chuckle at when I saw it. To be fair, it was a lovely picture of you. It was just, you were fully clothed, stood in the sort of end of a pool.
Because we just gone to see the pool. Because
Right.
I don't know if people know, but we just bought a house in Spain and there's like a kind of community pool. So we just gone to see it because we weren't going to get in it or anything because it was a bit too cold to be going in the pool. And so we were like feeling the temperature and I was like...
Sorry, it was cold in Spain.
It has been getting colder.
No, I said a bit too cold to swim. Didn't I?
I mean, when I was there a couple of weeks back, it was... it wasn't warm, but it was fairly cold. Anyway, the temperature of a pool is not interesting to our audience, so sorry.
Yeah. So I was kind of trying to see how far I could get in because like it was not as cold as the one in France. You know, the one that we went in like every night. It was like an ice bath challenge.
Oh yeah, for Disney. The
one that was
Oh,
the
yeah.
And so then I was like, Leo literally put his foot in for like 2 seconds. Mum lasted less than 2 seconds and Dad didn't even. So I was just stood there because like I couldn't go that far obviously because I was fully clothed. So I was just kind of stood there and it was so boring because everyone was just going around and Dad and Leo were looking at the rules and they were like reading them out. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to chill here. And then Mum whips out her phone and I regretted all my life.
Well, you know what? It happens, and I'm sure there are hundreds, if not thousands, of kids out there who have got mums that take pictures violently. To be honest,
if it's on Facebook, at least my friends aren't going to see
what
it.
I will say is our mum is actually quite good at not forcing us to take pictures in situations that just don't warrant it. Do you know what I mean? I think she's trying to be conscious of you because she wants to get more stuff on your social media and you're useless. You are rubbish. No offense. But take offense because you should. But you know,
offense to your face.
Thanks. She's trying to help you get into more of a swing of it of posting more regularly because you are allowed to now. So why wouldn't you? And yeah, sometimes she takes that liberty of just doing the complete wrong thing in the hopes that maybe it fills out the space.
We certainly have other family members that are much more aggressive in terms of getting family pictures in various. But I mean, when me and Dob went to the Man United game the other day, I made sure to take some pictures for Auntie Rachel. I knew that it would be bedlam.
Love
if we
you,
had
Auntie
nothing.
Rachel.
Shout out Auntie Rachel.
But
she takes so many pictures.
Do you know that she's got Snapchat?
We found out they had Snapchat. That's
Uncle
fantastic.
Dan.
Yeah, I didn't know Dan had Snapchat, but that's
Leo
fantastic.
added him.
Oh, good.
They're trying to start a streak.
we
or
also have
something.
Snapchat. You can add it. It's Max and Harvey on Snapchat.
We are just Max and Harvey on
Please don't
Snapchat.
add my Snapchat. I'd rather you didn't.
Well,
She doesn't have Snapchat, but we do, and you can add us on there. Anyway, well, just for the sake of people not trying to find you.
Oh, it's okay. There's loads of Tilly Mouses.
Good.
I don't look like my Bitmoji at all either.
Anywho, we're coming into a season now where it's gotten.
Bells with bells of holly, fa la 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 la.
Well, I'm glad that's your
Christmas.
I'm glad that's your view on it because for a lot of people, this season isn't necessarily as positive. It's getting darker. We've got an hour back. It's a little bit more depressing, a little bit more sad. For you,
Do we not get more sleep, or is that less sleep?
well, it's happened now, so you're back to the same sleep
yeah,
schedule.
you just
Yeah, but
regular.
Same 12
Wasn't
hours.
it more sleep? Like an hour more? Or was it an hour less?
Yeah, it would have been an hour more sleep
That was
technically.
a great night's sleep for me.
Yeah. So anyway, you specifically.
Hang on, before you move on. Sorry, it was not a great night's sleep for me. I was out in a club until 5:30 a.m.
I'm glad we paused for that.
Yeah, sorry.
You go to school still, as we all know, and you get back from school at around sort of 3 or 4ish. That's when it starts getting dark. Do you ever come home in that sort of time period and think, gosh, that's sad? Now's the part where you respond.
Take your time.
I'm not really too sure how to respond to that.
What Harvey's trying to say is there is such thing as seasonal depression,
I see.
and it's not actually
No,
necessarily.
I don't get seasonal depression, but thanks for.
Well, because
asking.
for a lot of people, it's not actual depression. That's another thing that I don't think we should cover, as we're not well versed enough on the topic. However, a lot of people can emotionally just switch as soon as it gets darker because there's, not as much light on things.
It's
a
party
bit.
time when it's dark.
I suppose.
Okay.
That's a great outtake, to be honest.
That's a look on it for sure. But would you say that there's anything that you do in this sort of time period that's maybe like, going into bed, snuggling up, watching things like I know that's a bit of a weird thing to say. No, that's fine. Laugh at me. I'm being weird. But like, is there anything that you do in the winter season that you maybe wouldn't do in the summer because it's too hot or, whatever, or you just want to get outside and maybe now you're trapped inside?
Drink a hot chocolate.
Drink a hot chocolate. Good. Any sort of...
Turn the fire on.
Yeah.
Do you know how to do that?
Yeah.
In the living room. Nice.
If you did that to our fire, it would not work.
Yeah, you actually got to flick a switch first.
Yeah, that's what I meant by...
No, you just made a sound.
No, I went... Wait.
What's that?
That's how you turn
Spanking the fire.
it on. You weirdo.
Go on.
It's as bad as you
Get it out.
Productive none.
Yeah, that was a bit weird to be fair. So
'Cause you can
anyway,
either blow it or you can like go like that.
talking to your friends is obviously important as well. Keeping people in your life, whether or not they're in front of your face or whether or not they're over the phone. Do you speak to people a lot over the phone? I know that you often post on your Snapchat story, oh my God, this person's my therapist and I'm so glad that they're in my life because I can talk to them forever. And so who is,
That's not true.
Is it not?
Tilly, that was almost verbatim.
Okay, so...
No. No.
Right.
I have someone saved
Oh.
as my therapist.
Yeah.
I've never said the last thing. Like, I could speak to this person forever.
I don't know. I just started raffing.
The first bit, yes. But I've never said this person's my therapist. I've just got them saved as that in my phone.
Why?
Because they are.
Yeah, that's my point. That's literally my point.
but
You have
she's-
verbalized that on your story. Otherwise, how would we know?
What?
You say it. Maybe
I've
you
never said
maybe you
it.
gave them a birthday shout out or something like that, and you said that person was your therapist. Or I can't remember what the
No,
context
no.
was.
I've seen it with my
No,
eyes.
it's because I have them saved. So when they've tagged me, and then I repost it on my story.
So why are they your therapist? Why are they saved as that? Why do you treat them as such?
Do you pay them?
No.
So what makes that person someone that you can confide in? Is it someone that you get along with very well? Is it someone that you can just trust or?
Well, I've known her for a long time. We've been doing dance together since we were like 2. And then we went to different...
2?
You were barely walking at 2. How are you doing dance?
I was like 2 or 3 when I started dance.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
Okay. Good that you guys know more than me about my
We
life.
were there. We
You
were
could barely
actually-
remember what Max
yeah.
was like 4 years ago. Never mind what happened when you were 2.
Anyway, carry on.
Anyways, so I've known her for a while, but we always went to different primary schools, and now we go to the same secondary school. So it's like, I don't know, we've just got closer because we're in the same tutor, and then we were in the same classes for, I think, 2 years. And then this year we're not in the same classes, but she's in a different friend group to me. So, I don't know. I don't really know. We just relate to a lot of stuff.
But that's interesting because you're not necessarily always seeing each other and always in the same friend group, but you have found someone that you clearly absolutely align with, trust in, and want to talk to. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to hang out all the time, but it's just someone that you get along with. So would you, do you have anything off the top of your head that you can remember that you either figure that out with? Was it just because you've known each other for so long?
Well,
or
because I normally go to her whenever I have a problem with something, and
Right.
she normally fixes it. Whether it's even like homework or something, because she's very smart.
Oh, good.
But like,
So are you just completely using this person
No,
because there's I'm
not
kidding,
at
I'm
all.
kidding, I'm kidding. Do you do the same in return? Does she come to you with her problems?
Yeah, I mean, one time she was trying to help me with my Spanish homework, because we're in the same Spanish this year. And so I was like, now that we've done it, because she didn't do it at the same time as me, I was like, because we've just basically done it together now, I can just send you the answers later if you want.
Yeah, that's good. So it sounds like you've got a very solid friend there, regardless of whether or not you're in the same friend group, which I think is important because in the same way, like we've
We're going on a
always
ski trip together as well.
good, and that'll be fun as well. And I think again, having that person there that you can trust in and always go to is so important. And sometimes you might not realize that in this season where people are getting a little bit more depressed and a little bit more sort of like aware of everything that's wrong in their life rather than thinking of the positives because it's dark, because it's raining, because the weather's not great,
rain.
whatever it might be. And you might not necessarily realize because you have it sounds lucked out with a really solid friend and a really solid person that you can trust in, that other people might not necessarily have that. So is there anything that you could maybe suggest for how someone could find that person, or how maybe even someone could just, talk to someone, whether it be a parent or a friend or just someone that they know? I know it's a tough question, but like
Just go fishing, try and hook one in.
yeah.
No, I think it's got to be someone that you relate to though, because me and my friend have like quite a lot in common.
Okay.
Like, even though
Same political party.
yeah, man. Even though she's quite a bit smarter than me, like she still almost doesn't struggle the same as me, but we still both kind of struggle a little bit.
So would you say that your issues, I know that's a bit of a harsh word to call it, but your issues are on like a similar wavelength? So
Yeah.
the stakes of your, because some people might be like, oh, my mum shouted at me this morning and I'm really angry about it. And for me, in the nicest way possible, depending on the context, that's a fairly low stakes issue. Whereas for you, it might be, I've broken my arm and I've got a dance thing coming up and I really wanted to be able to do it, but now I can't do it. And that for me is quite a high stakes issue, because the emotional draining on that is just really, really high. And so this other person who's very smart, does very high stakes things in their life, maybe will have similar issues. So do you think that's important?
What?
Yeah, I'm throwing as well.
Did I talk too long?
Oh no, you're doing the whole politician speech right now.
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I'm gone.
All I'm saying is that your issues that you talk to each other about are the same. Like not the
they're
same
very,
exactly,
they're very
but
similar, yeah.
they have the same level of importance.
Yeah.
So that's helpful to talk to each other.
Tills, do you know what a panic attack is?
Yeah.
Do you know if you've ever had one before?
Yes.
Have you actually had a legitimate
Yeah.
panic attack?
Two.
Two?
Yeah.
What made that happen?
My first one was when I went to go see Anne Juliet, and we'd gone to McDonald's before.
Terrible musical.
Have you seen it?
No.
How do you know?
I have seen...
Did you know Charlie D'Amelio's in it?
Yes, I've seen enough clips of that to know that it's terrible.
No, it's good. It is good. Anyway. So, I don't know. There was like, I don't know if this is because of it, but we were at McDonald's and there was just like really weird guy, and so we'd gone with like Isabel and Claire. So me and Mum, Isabel and Claire, and we went into the toilet, and like the guy like came out of the toilet, so we weren't sure if he was going to come back in. Anyway, I wasn't really feeling very well. Like, it was kind of from when we got out the car, and so after that we went to go obviously watch it, and where I was sat, I was like starting to feel really ill, and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to make it out to the toilet in time, because I didn't know where the toilet was. So I wouldn't, like, because I wasn't at the end of a row either, I didn't want to, I feel really awkward, like, in the middle of a show, getting up
Horrendous.
to go to the toilet. But, like, I was like, if I was going to throw up, I didn't want to do it on the person in front of me. Or,
Of course.
be like, while someone's trying to perform.
So sorry to interject, but I was at a show the other night and there was a woman that absolutely barreled through an aisle in the middle of the show, almost shouting, saying, "So sorry for disturbing." I was like, you could have gone without saying that in the middle of the show. And then she came
What
back
show was
and did
it?
the same. I watched Hadestown. It's amazing. It's
love
really, really
Wait
good.
For Me from Hadestown.
Yeah. No, the whole thing is phenomenal. Anyway, you carry on.
And so then it came to the interval, and all of a sudden I just, like, my body sort of stopped, and then I, like, started crying, and, like, everything was, like, almost like pins and needles, but, like, not the weird part.
Motherfuckers had a panic attack.
Yeah.
So I had my first one.
I like that that's your confirmation.
No,
It's like,
yeah, I had my first one a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think I mentioned it to you, have I? So it was a really, really weird situation. Me, Dobby, and our manager had gone for a meeting. He wasn't there because he was in Spain, and obviously, I don't know if it's obvious to the viewers. Obviously, to you, he's the social media guy. He knows all about it. It's his bread and butter.
Hello.
I know a lot about social media, but not enough to do a TED talk on it, put it that way. And so we went into this meeting. It was quite an important one because we were, I don't need to say what it was about. It was an important meeting. I did not understand what was happening to me, similar to you in terms of, it was actually before we got into the meeting, I said to Dobby, I was feeling quite ill. And then as we got in there, the intensity, but it wasn't even that intense of a meeting. But the guy that I was talking to had phenomenal eye contact. On any other day, I would have just sort of admired his use of eye contact. That day, not at all. I was like, please God, stop looking at me. I cannot, because I was really trying to think quite hard to, you know, get all of the social media stuff reeled off that he would normally say in a meeting like that. I was like, God, I have to do all the heavy thinking here. And it just kept going to a point where I was having red hot flushes in my face, like my whole body would go red.
I think that wouldn't have helped that you can feel it as well.
Yeah, that too. And that just made me feel worse. And it just kept happening. I then I didn't actually make any mistakes, and we're now working with these people, so it's great. I clearly didn't mess up too much, but like I said some things that came out a little bit wrong, and I was just embarrassing myself in that meeting. And then for a second, I completely zoned out and everything just collapsed in my brain. I didn't cry, luckily, because like I said before on various other videos, I don't cry. But it was just, I couldn't believe something could take over my body so much. I think it might have been due to like overstressing over the past few weeks, because we've had a lot of, you know, quite important things go down and intense stuff to think about. But I sort of, in a weird way, didn't, and I'm sure no one does know what a panic attack feels like until you have one, and you can never visualize it. Even if someone explains it to you, it doesn't make any sense until you actually have one. And now I have a lot more respect for people that do go through that on a regular basis, because it's like, oh my God, it's mental.
Just don't panic.
I actually had one the next day.
I know. I wish
stop panicking.
it was that
mine
simple.
were literally 2 days in a row, because I had mine the next day at school.
And that's probably not helpful. Luckily, I think the next day for me was a bit more chill, but I did still feel shaken up, if you know what I mean, the next day. Like, it was sort of, it took a second to...
Just to add to the, you know, not that it was funny or anything, but to add to a bit of humor to it, was that I was obviously in Spain, which was why I didn't make the meeting. And Max had texted me about the meeting, and he said, and I asked how it went, and he was like, yeah, I think it went quite well. I think I had a minor panic attack, but like otherwise it was all good. And I was kind of like, whoa, what?
It's very out of character for me.
That doesn't sound like the meeting went very well at all. But, you know, mainly just because it's like, you know, that's never happened. And if that did happen, then surely something was off. Like, something bad must have happened. But I had no idea what was going on. And I just kind of said, I mean, it can't have been that bad, because otherwise, you know, our manager who was in the meeting would have said something as well.
Yeah, no, it was fine. It was literally, it was the point, the point that I really started worrying was I don't know if you had the same thing. My heart was just thudding through my chest. And I was like, he was talking to me and I was looking at the table like that. Yeah. Just not even there. I was like, what on earth is happening right now? Sort of feeling like I was about to throw up.
No, that's what happened the first time. And the second time it kind of happened, but it was because I was like in a lesson, and I told the guy next to me, because like we're really good friends, and so I told them. And then they were like, okay, well, tell her that you feel ill. And I was like, well, because I feel like it's so embarrassing to just put your hand up and say, I feel ill, because then the teacher goes, oh, what do you want me to do about it? And all that sort of stuff. So I was like, no, it's fine. And then I was like, because he was like focusing on me and I kept sort of zoning out, and he thought I was going to pass out and not have a panic attack. So he then told her, also, I don't actually remember what happened. I think one of us told her, and then I ended up outside. And I remember because... you know how, like, it's, like, the weird kind of pins and needles thing, and especially in my legs. So outside her classroom was, like, this, like, I don't know if you ever saw in our old primary school, but you had these, like, green things like that, and kids would always swing on them, like, going in. It was, like, it looked like this. It was, like, a metal thing, and it was like that.
Are you on about, like, bike racks?
No, it wouldn't have been, because it was outside her classroom, and it was just one.
I have no idea.
No, I don't know.
Anyway, so it was one of those there, and so I had to hold on to that because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to stay standing.
Mm-hmm. So you were outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, everyone watching me as I left. It was really awkward.
So... in these situations then, when you have the panic attack, because I have certainly, I'm not going to sit here and go, yeah, I know what you guys are feeling. I've had that too, because frankly, I'm just a non-feeling mess of a robot.
I think you'll get there.
I'll probably get there. But also that I've absolutely had stress-induced really intense sort of hot flush moments where I just want everything to stop. But that's not necessarily to say that I've had a panic attack.
I've had those kind of hot flush moments when it's not that similar.
Yeah. But my question, I guess, is that, again, like in that moment, was there anything that you were sort of thinking, I wish this would happen right now? Like, was it to be outside to get fresh air?
Yeah, I would have liked to have just gone outside. I probably should have said that. I probably should have said, can I take a second? Because it was more, especially because it was my first one, I did not know what was going on. So it was sort of like, it was hope that it would just pass quite quickly, but it didn't. As soon as it sort of started, it pretty much lasted the rest of the entire meeting.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's
oh
not fun.
my God.
When I went outside, it did help, but it was like then because I was stood up, I wasn't sure if I was gonna.
Did you go kind of lightheaded?
Yeah, because there was like a door with a window there. I was like, if I fall forward, it's going to be so embarrassing. People just seeing me like that.
Thud. yeah, that's not ideal. But yeah, it's good to know that, you know, you can talk about these things and you can figure out what the best situation is. I think the ultimate thing is that if you are able to communicate it, to just be honest and say to whoever's around you or whatever, I just need a minute, or ask to get some fresh air or ask for some water or whatever, and not to be embarrassed by it, because ultimately if you're around a bunch of people who are going to judge you for that, then that's their issue, that's not yours. You shouldn't take it as like...
in a classroom full of kids.
I get chugging the shit out of my water. That didn't even help. It was mental.
Which is fair enough. But yeah, I think, you know, again, with the seasonal depression about to kick in and, you know, a lot of this is going to start ramping up a little bit, I think people need to know that they can try and do these certain things, and a lot of people are going to be stuck in situations where they don't have someone they can trust, or they don't even have an adult like a parent that they can necessarily trust to go to. So if they can maybe find someone on the internet or find someone nearby, whether it be a friend or a neighbor even, then it is important to do so. So yeah, obviously if anyone has any questions about that, then absolutely go. I would say come to us, but we are not the most useful people. Google it, look for help, like search for things on the internet, what to do when I'm having a panic attack, because I know being told that seems so obvious and seems so, you know, easy, but then actually a lot of the time when you're having one, you don't think to do it, and so it completely blocks your mind. So hopefully, you know, just the knowledge that there is information out there is useful. Anyway,
do we have something that you hate? Because
we have got something that I hate, and boy do I hate it. We're bringing back Harvey Hates Everything, which for anyone who doesn't know is a segment I do because I hate lots of things and I want to see if these guys agree or disagree with me. By the end of this segment, if both of them agree, then it's hated, it's gone. We agree as the 13
it's not
again.
Gone. We can't eliminate
we
it. We
get rid of the
Max
thing. And if one of them disagrees with me,
You said as Max and Harvey.
Oh, I suppose Tilly's here as well.
You just got outranked for us. You count. You're in Max and Harvey. You're a part of Max
You're
and
in the
Harvey.
Max and Harvey universe.
Yeah, the Max and Harvey cinematic universe.
Can I like resign from that?
Yes,
I think Dobby said that quite a few times as well.
But Dobby's tried to resign like 30 times and we won't let him. Anyway, the thing I hate this week, and I know the problem is that I go into this knowing already whether or not Max is going to agree, because most of the time it's, you know, I know him well. But the thing I hate is the beach. I don't like it. I don't like the sand. I don't like the salt water. The only way you're going to get me into the ocean is if there's something to jump off of into it, because that's slightly exciting to me. No, it's not a worrying thing.
Well, I don't want to get rid of the beach because it's like a nice place to tan and then you can cool off.
It's gone.
So tell me a bit more about that then. Like what's
Well, like when I went to Croatia, it was really nice because it does depend on what kind of beach. Like I prefer sandy beaches because they're nicer to sit on / lie on.
So not like pebbles.
No.
Yeah.
What is the point in a pebbled beach? I
I prefer it because you can't get chafing.
You know what? I actually do prefer a pebble beach to a sandy beach, but still, what's the point?
Well, no, because in Croatia there was like no wind though, so like you didn't really get sand in your eyes at all. But like in England, I do not like a sandy beach.
Yeah, there's a lot wrong with British beaches specifically, which I think we've had the most experience with almost, because we did used to go to the beach quite a lot in the UK. But
I think our main problem, and this is the thing, this will happen to most people with certain things that they're not genetically designed for. Unfortunately, our father has strange skin.
that's a bit unfair, but like
he won't mind. He might. But yeah, I think we actually do tan, but a lot of the time we do burn as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of
but
people
then think
burn.
about mum.
Yeah, and mum does tan quite well, to be fair to her.
She really does.
But she's conditioned herself to, I think, as
Yeah.
well. Like, I don't know. I think she's...
No, it's because Barmy does as well.
Yeah, that's
But
our grandma.
There's so much wrong with the beach because the sun reflects off the water. It's so much easier to burn. You spend loads of time there. There's obviously the sand. If you go in the water and come out of the water, the sand just sticks to you for
Yeah,
some
I do
reason.
agree with
Hate that. And
But a lot of-
then when you put sun cream on as well, also attracts sand and bugs.
And how do you
various
get
other-
your socks back on if you've got socks and you're covered in sand and water,
Horrible.
and then you're putting
Because
socks over the sand and water because you
you-
can't wash it off properly because then you've
A
got
lot
to dry
of
it.
Beaches
Seagulls.
will have places where you can wash off the sand from your feet, and then you use your own towel, which you should be bringing, to dry your feet. To then
Yeah,
put
but
on your
it's
socks
just
and And
stressful.
then if not, well,
All good?
yeah. If not, just wear sliders or flip flops or whatever.
The one other thing that I did briefly mention then, but I want to attack further, seagulls
Ah,
are the absolute worst.
Yeah.
Peter, don't come for me, but if there was an animal that I could boot 1,000 meters every single time, it would be a seagull. I hate them.
Yeah, they're the
Cannot
ones,
stand the
they're
animal.
The ones that pooed on
we
me.
we do not condone harming animals on this podcast for
Except
the
for
record.
seagulls.
Oh, okay.
Okay, should we vote? I feel like we should.
We should vote because I think we know where this is going. I'm getting rid of the beach.
I quite like... F*** off. I hate the beach.
I'll keep
Get it gone.
You're keeping it. So I think I this is a bit unfair because I'm gonna say that the beach for the first time is the one that I would say meets in the middle. Because I think for me, there can be benefits, sort of, but not really. And so I'm happy for that one to not necessarily be gone, but just to meet in the middle and go, okay, it's average.
Okay, well, I brought a new segment.
Oh my god.
Prize segment from Tilly. Wah, wah, wah. What have we got?
Things Tilly loves.
Oh, okay. To combat the hate.
Seems familiar.
Feels like you copied a format, but you know.
Go for it.
I love like satisfying videos, you know,
'Kay.
of, for example, earwax removal.
Good.
Okay, no, I know.
You know, we've
Blackhead removal.
we've done an earwax removal
Yeah,
video.
I know.
That's crazy.
But like not like that though.
and it did well.
It got a lot of views.
Well.
And like rug cleaning.
Rug cleaning, yeah. I am accustomed to a rug cleaning video.
Anything else? Do you watch any, Harvey?
I mean, slime videos were the big thing when
yeah, but
satisfying videos
pimple.
initially came
Did
out.
you say that already?
No, she
pimple
didn't say
videos.
pimple popping, she said
yeah,
earwax.
I
they're-
said,
as
I said
much as
blackhead
that's
removal.
the
Oh,
worst.
okay.
But
Gotcha.
like you know the strips.
Did you ever? There was this the one time where it went past pimple popping and people were doing like massive cysts on backs and so, and they just like use a scalpel to open a cyst and just release all this ridiculous amount of fluid from
I
someone.
never
Like
saw
it's
that.
mental. It really goes quite far. And then didn't we a while ago talk about what they called mango worms? That are in dogs. I swear
Yes,
we've mentioned
yeah.
that
I mean,
before.
it's pretty horrific because it usually it comes from the mistreatment of dogs because they're just left to exist in terrible places. But it means that they're being freed of that thing that is infesting their skin.
The satisfyingness is almost you can see the relief in the dog after they've had that treatment done, and they're just sort of, it's almost like pimple popping again. But yeah, no,
Do you know another thing that's satisfying? And this was only one video that I saw, but there was this sheep that had like been, what's the word, neglected kind of. That's not the word I was looking for, but they hadn't been sheared like
Okay,
ever,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
were like had so like they
those
couldn't even
sheep
see.
always look so
They just
funny.
you could just see that, and then
It's like a
they're
little
just-
tank.
Yeah, and so but when they took it off, it was actually quite satisfying, and then it was like
Yeah.
running and leaping, and like it could barely even move before that, and I just don't know. That was kind of satisfying to see the relief.
Well, it's a pretty easy answer, but if we were to vote,
I vote satisfying.
yeah, I'm
videos.
keeping around those. We'll call them gross satisfying videos because the
Yeah.
majority of them are. It's to do with like
Wow, I like
releasing
slime
tension or
videos.
dirty stuff, or because I saw a video of a guy cleaning the seats of the tubes the other day. Oh my god, is it horrific? Like
It's- yeah, it's-
the color of
can't
the
be good.
liquid that was going into the buckets was unreal, and it does
Harvey,
make you
what do you
think
vote?
how much attaches to you.
I'm voting yeah. Keep them around. They keep me happy. They keep me engaged. And as much as I hate it, because the worst thing is when you see a video and you're watching like a podcast clip and there's just a satisfying clip next to
love
it,
them.
and you go, "Oh my god, I don't need this much stimulation, but also I do." It's so
Well, no,
bad.
because-
It's
No,
so
I'm-
bad.
I'm-
Sometimes
It's
for
happened
me,
to us.
I don't really get podcast clips just coming up. So they normally come up next to the video. So now they keep coming up side by side. So I've just owned it.
Anyway, we do need to wrap up because by God have we been rattling on. And for this week's podcast comment shout out, by the way,
Let's read
for
it.
anyone who saw me on my phone for that was what I was doing. I was looking
think
for
Max should read it,
the
'cause he hasn't
comment
read
shout
one
out.
yet.
He's not going to,
Oh.
because it's not one that's worth reading out, if that makes sense. And that's not to say that it's not a good comment. What I want to say is give it a bit of context, where we have a regular viewer who we recognize the name of both on live streams and on the podcast, which is Book Me Harder, the user. I think we know that username. Yes, correct.
the name.
It's a concerning name, but they have been updating us every single week on what the current time for podcast episodes that we have out is. Now, we are recording this literally hours before the next podcast goes out. It's Saturday today, so we don't have the newest one out, but currently we have 11 hours, 8 minutes and 48 seconds worth of podcasts out. So if anyone wanted to sit and binge the entire series of this 13 Again podcast, it would take you 11
Not
hours.
now though, because this
That's
will
a
be
pretty good
after
amount of
few
time, you know.
episodes.
Yeah.
We've got a full-on
you
series
realise that
going.
this will be after.
After the next episode goes out, it'll be
So,
11 and a half hours.
Basically, the episode before, which the one that's going to come out today.
Yeah, which is rating Tilly's prom dresses.
Yeah, okay. So the one before that is that time.
Correct. So we have 11 and a half hours of podcast. So thank you, Book Me Harder, for keeping us up to date on that. Everyone look out for her comments.
Change your
Because-
username.
Yeah. don't.
There's only about 2 hours before that.
I don't
one
care that
comes
much.
out.
Don't worry.
But yeah, so anyway, that's the comment shout out for this week. If you want a shout out in the next podcast, please feel free to leave a comment. We do try and remember every single week to give a shout out to one of the comments, because we do appreciate you guys sticking around and letting us know what you think, or asking us a question, or just leaving a really funny comment.
Or
So
just
yeah,
rambling like this guy.
we have been Max and Harvey and Tilly. We do know that we've been promoting the absolute crap out of the 13 Again merch, and that it's been taking its time to actually get onto the website, so we can only apologize for that.
Do we
but
have it now?
we're working on it, and by the time this podcast is out, if the 13 Again merch isn't out, someone will have been fired.
Yes.
So we will
vote Dobby.
absolutely... Tommy's just like, why me? So yeah, hopefully the 13 Again merch will be available. If not, we will absolutely do an announcement on our social media. So check us out, Max and Harvey, on pretty much everything on Max and Harvey Official. And Tilly's here too on TikTok, and _Tilly Mills on Instagram.
He knows it better than me.
I do indeed. So yes, thank you so much for watching. We've been Max and Harvey and Tilly, and we'll see
Why
you
do I
on
always
next
have to
week's,
come last?
because you're the worst. And we'll see you on next week's
Last is
episode of
always the
13 Again.
best.
Goodbye.